It's game week as VGK prepares to open up the new season against Colorado on Wednesday. 3 players were placed on waivers on Sunday. We will tell you who they are right after this on Lockdown Golden Knights.
Your Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, hi again, everyone. The start of a new week. It is the official first week of the NHL season for VGK. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. You could find us wherever you get your podcast. Please make sure to subscribe to our Lockdown Golden Knights YouTube channel. We are brought to you today by FanDuel. Start the season off with a big return at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. The Golden Knights, Chris, put 3 players on the waiver wire on Sunday. 27-year-old Tanner Laczynski, who had a solid preseason camp for the VGK. He heads to the Silver Knights if he clears waivers, of course. Veteran defensive forward Zach Ashton Reese was also placed on waivers. He has one of those contracts. He signed a 2-way deal currently that's worth $1.1 million, where each of the 2 teams on the AHL and NHL level give him some money there. And Jonas Ronbjorg placed on waivers. I kept asking you about Ronbjorg. I kept asking you, Chris. On Friday, I asked you, has he done enough in camp? Has Ronbjorg done enough in camp? I think everyone had him, in their top 12 and what have you, Ronbjorg. But just 3 goals, 10 points during his NHL career. To me, a player, as I said on Friday, could not finish. And I think that came back to hurt him in the end. Your thoughts?
He's not a finisher. I mean, we'll start with Ronbjorg, obviously. He's got the most time of service, if you will, with the Golden Knights organization. He's not a finisher. His job isn't to go out there and do those types of things. It's nice when he does. And he does have that touch, Tony. I mean, in the American League, going back to 21-22, 39 games, 14 goals. 22-23, 54 games, 12 goals. Just three goals at the NHL level, 7 assists, 10 points. Saw a lot of local media pretty high on Ronbjorg, and
yes,
not that I wasn't high on him. I maybe thought the expectations were a little higher than needed. If one of the 3 gets claimed, I think it probably is Ronbjorg. I mean, 1, he's cheap, call it what it is. 2, he's 25 years old. He can certainly still grow into a role. And 3, he's not a bad player. He's definitely not a bad player. If a team needs help, most likely on their 4th line, but in their bottom 2 lines, he could be a help. We'll find out in about the next 6 hours real time who's getting claimed and how that shuffle is going to work.
Yeah, again, the expectations pretty high, from the media. Everyone had him as an automatic to make this opening day roster. I was not sold. You still have to. That's just how important the preseason is.
I give the Tanners credit for pushing him back a little bit.
Oh, no doubt. No, and to be fair, though, you also have to think about how important every preseason also is. You don't automatically insert yourself into that opening day lineup. It's important, right, that you have to continue to play and play well in the preseason. And we saw a lot of players make a positive impression. AKA Brendan Brisson made a positive impression in camp. That's why he's going to stick.
I don't know. Brisson on the offensive side
the first half of the week.
Brisson on the offensive side, his game is at a new level right now. I saw it a lot in the preseason, saw it a ton against the San Jose Sharks. Brisson was making a living in about a 6 foot spread, if you will, about 8 feet above the goal crease. So we got 32 square feet right there if we're gonna get going here. But Brisson was certainly coming right through that slot, coming right down the strip and deflecting a lot of pucks on the way in. Now, defensive side, this is where a concern was. I pointed this out. You had in the game against the Sharks, Nicholas Hague eliminates a player on the boards with a check. Brendan Brisson does not chase the player back, and there's a Sharks player wide open in the slot where Brisson is the close player behind. So again, preseason, I've heard a lot that it was preseason, not a big deal on Saturday. We'll maybe hit more of that in the second segment, but yeah, I mean, Brisson's defensive game has a lot of growing to do. Now, being on a line with Hurdle is going to help that, possibly, but let's see what happens in November. Is he going to be developed enough by November to play better defense? I hope so.
27-year-old Tanner Laczynski accounted for himself very well. In fact, he had that span of 3 points in the first 3 games, I think, of the preseason. I think, with him on the market now, I think that he's someone that could be picked up.
I don't know. The Golden Knights were kind of smart on this one here. There's a lot of, again, when people are talking through the media, there's usually a reason. There's usually a message. And Laczynski, what he did well, back checking, stick lifts, creating these quick turnovers that lead to immediate scoring chances in the offensive zone. He did that on 3 or 4 goals of the preseason. It was awesome to watch. And if he makes it down to Henderson, I don't think it's going to be that long when he gets called up, either out of necessity for injuries or to help, the bottom 6, so to speak. Cassidy was very quick to talk about some of the things Laczynski did not do well or needed to do better, is probably a better way to say that. And can you check at this level? Talked about how he's kind of been around with Philly and Lehigh and everything, and just kind of trying to learn his game and everything. Talking about him developing a little bit later as a 27-year-old. Cassidy didn't say a ton of, Laczynski, this guy's amazing, having a great, he certainly kept it somewhat tempered, which is fine. And I think this is, I'm not going to say coach speak, this is league speech. You don't want your coach up there, Laczynski, he's really doing this, he's going to earn a spot, and we're looking for big things from him. He's going to be ready, because if he's talking him up like that, there's other people watching, these media pressers and things like that. So I think there's a little bit of choice words made through the media with Laczynski in hopes that he makes it to Henderson. I hope he does too. It'll be a great fit down there, and seem like he'll be a great fit in the NHL level too.
What did you tell me on Friday about Rondbjerg? I thought you said he was out of options. No?
What do you mean out of options? I probably said something, but I'm about 2/3 of the way. Can he go back? No. He's yes, but he has to clear waivers. Right. Like if they would have sent Brendan Brisson down, he would not have had to clear waivers. He could have gone straight down without risk of being lost.
Gotcha.
So that's why he's on waivers right now. He's a 25-year-old that has hit that magical number and formula and all that.
Okay, so Tanner Pearson, the other Tanner, the main Tanner, he also makes the opening day roster, which you said from the get-go, this guy has a really good chance of making the team. So kudos to you, Chris. But here's a guy that kind of pushes a lot of players out of this equation that might have thought that they would be there. On Friday, they signed him to a 1-year deal off of the PTO at $775,000.
So bad. I mean, hey, bro, come play some hockey with us. Here's the league vet minimum. Let's go. And what's he gonna do? Say no? No. I mean, listen, it's definitely a good thing. Pearson, he's gonna log games. He's gonna play solid games and have effective minutes out there. You might not see it on the score sheet a lot, but right from the get-go, it seemed like a player who's experienced, who's really going to help the bottom, the fourth line. He can go up if needed, but the fourth line is really a good spot for him. And is he going to have as much of a scoring touch as William Carrier did when Carrier was healthy, which was almost never? I think Carrier was even injured in the preseason with Carolina this year already. So he'll definitely give some stability to the position. And now you're looking at a likely bottom unit, a bottom forward line with Howden, Pearson, and Kolesar. So you got some experience back there. You got some grit. You got some sandpaper back there. So that's a good thing. And it's going to be a good line to watch throughout the season. And the hope is, no disrespect to any of those players, but the hope is they stay on the fourth line, because that means the top 3 forward lines would not have many injuries. Speaking of which, was there a Carlson sighting yesterday or no?
We'll get to that in segment number 3.
Teaser. That's a teaser.
That's a lot of a teaser there. Another player in the past that could not finish was Paul Cotter. Now he's the leading scorer in the National Hockey League for the Devils. A goal in each of the first 2 games in Prague. It's good for him. What do you have, like 7 goals last year?
So dude can't play hockey in North America. Got it.
Right? I thought that maybe that's the case. Coming up next is VGK ready for the start of this new season? We'll get that out, and we'll talk more about it. We return right here on Locked On Golden Knights. We are driven by the search for better, but when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data. And matching engine, it's a matching engine that helps you to find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so that you can connect with candidates faster. And Indeed doesn't just help you to hire faster. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. Leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences each and every day, Indeed's hiring engine, matching engine, is constantly learning from your preferences. So the more that you use Indeed, the better it gets. And listeners of this show, Locked On Golden Knights, of course, will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/lockedon. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on our podcast. Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. You need to hire. You need Indeed. Welcome back on this Monday edition of Locked On Golden Knights. Thought we lost you there for a moment, Mr. Golick. We appreciate everyone tuning in.
I'm not awake, but I'm
here. No, this is a tough one today.
This is dark outside.
Waking up in the dark. Yeah, I don't like that.
6:18, still dark.
The other day, I did not match with my top and bottom, and I get dressed in the dark. I mean, that's not cool. Wrong color scheme right there. Friday's WTF. Saturdays, Chris Jr. show, the YouTube exclusive. You got one out there on Saturday.
Yeah, we did.
That was cool. Yeah.
Well, Chris, Utah over Pittsburgh in the Stanley Cup final. That's Chris's call.
Holy smokes. Wow.
I like Utah's going to be sneaky. Pittsburgh, I think he was hit a fruit by the foot and had a little sugar overload before that, but Utah's going to be sneaky. We'll talk about that Wednesday, but Utah's going to be sneaky.
Okay. Well, I'm thinking, Utah, VGK fans had better like Utah because a lot of teams are going to go through there on the front end of the back-to-back. So you better like that team. Are the Golden Knights prepared for the upcoming season? Bruce Cassidy felt VGK was on track to be ready for not only the opener, Chris, but season 8. He said that there is a lot of work still to be done before the opener. Cassidy said yesterday that he thought that VGK was coming along well, taking care of some areas in their game. And then on Saturday night, some of it crept back in. That was Cassidy's quote from yesterday's Fan Fest. I recorded it and then transcribed it. You guys put me to work on a friggin' Sunday. You want to close out being prepared, right, for the season. You want to close out your camp. I think that you tweeted out 2 dress rehearsals, and they got dressed like Cardasco in the dark.
Only you'd find a way to tie that all together.
I didn't know where I was going with that, but go ahead, man.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's 2 things right now. Number one, what you just said, the tweet was the reality is that the Sharks B team, who just played the night before, some of the players, just beat what is likely going to be the same Vegas Golden Knights lineup that takes the ice on Wednesday, unless Carlson is out there, which I don't think is going to happen at this point. We'll find out. And then I said, I hope the who cares, it's just preseason crowd is onto something. The opponents only get tougher, and the games are only going to get harder. The games count now. The games matter, and I get it. Like the VGK Twitter even said, "Oh, it would have been nice to get 1 point in that one." Trying to downplay people like me who are a little more, reading a little more into this. I get it. It's preseason. It doesn't.
Oh, don't
matter,
say tea leaves. don't go there. Don't.
Well,
don't
people are, and that the Golden Knights are the ones planting the trees right now, and that's fine. But I don't like. You got 2 dress rehearsals, right? The dress rehearsals last year both went pretty well. They were, I can't remember if they were dominating wins, but they were certainly, taking care of business type of things. Like, you felt the team was ready opening the season last year, and they obviously were ready. This season, the 2 dress rehearsals, what they go 13 minutes without a shot on goal against Colorado Thursday night, something like that.
Two spans, like 12 plus and like 14. I thought.
Okay, 2 spans without shots. Now, again, Friday night against the Saturday against the San Jose Sharks, they put up a 5 spot. Aiden Hill he got beat 5-hole once, and then he did the Roger Dorn Ole on a glove. That was just very, very, very. It didn't look good at all.
No,
again, it's preseason. It's going to happen.
Bad
Fine,
ice.
shake it off. And
did anyone blame the bad ice for this? No.
Chris actually pointed out bad ice. People are falling left and right in the game and just losing their edges a lot. I don't know what the deal with that was, but Chris had that observation. So yeah, I mean, long story longer, this is the team that's going to take the ice on Wednesday nights. Now, the plus side is maybe this is just a bunch of vets, and for the most part, and they know the difference of preseason versus regular season, and they're just out there trying not to get hurt, going through the motions, trying to develop some of that chemistry we're going to hear a lot of throughout the year. And there was definitely that there, but Coach Cassidy talks about playing the games with respect and not being disrespectful to the game and things like that. Well, that's pretty disrespectful, that finish. You're up 5-3 in a preseason game against the Sharks with your boys out there. That game shouldn't end the way it did.
He said, Cassidy, you want to be close to being prepared, but now you have to go back and make some changes here, work 2 days, and then you'll adjust on the fly, too, as the season goes on. He said when you give up that many goals, you have to fix things. You have to fix things. I thought that
was this FanFest or early after the game?
No, this is FanFest. Okay. Your lockdown exclusive, because I don't know if anyone else put quotes out there. And then he just said it was just the end of the game. Well, he's got to try to keep these guys motivated, right? Just the end of the game wasn't a full 60 minutes that there were lapses. So we'll see what happens there. But again, he also pointed out that the hurdle Dorofeyev in Holt's line looked solid on Saturday. So that was, I guess, one of the highlights of Saturday night.
God, yeah, Dorofeyev was great. He was almost 4-Fiev. He had a couple chances for 4 goals, missed an empty netter late, and had some other great scoring chances. So Dorofeyev, I mean, again, preseason, it's not, we're not going to give Dorofeyev his flowers if everyone's going to sit here and say that just a preseason game, no big deal. So we're going to definitely take it on both sides here. Let's see what happens starting on Wednesday. You said, what did you say, Tony? The quote was about being ready. Do you still have that in front of you?
Being ready. You want to be prepared.
Fix things, prepared
on the fly as the season goes on.
It was before that.
When you give up that many goals,
things you got to fix.
Yeah, things you got.
Okay, so some of the effective things you got to fix and things like that.
In the next couple of days, they're going to have to fix a lot. And he thought that they were on track. Essentially, he thought that they were on track. But after that game, he's like, "Oh boy, we're not ready." I felt that's just my impression.
And that's the thing here. I mean, yes, it's preseason. I get it. When back in my bowling days, we have 10 minutes to practice where the scores don't count, and then the lights come on and the scores count. I've had so many minutes.
How many beers?
I didn't drink a lot when I bowled. I got too sweaty and stuff. I would actually no. I take that back. I would have a double Osoko on the rocks, and I'd sip it the entire night. Usually,
what was that podcast that blasted you that took you to task?
10th, 11th frame, something like that with Petrangelo.
Who's the host of that?
Petraglio. Not Petrangelo. Petraglio Jr.
Johnny
awesome.
Petraglio.
Yeah, Junior. His kid.
The Junior. Yeah. Dad was a little. Yeah, Dad's a little fiery too.
Oh, that was great. I love that. So no, I mean, listen, you're not. Basically, Cassidy sounds like he's saying we're not ready, and it's fair. They're not ready. And also, let's be fair. But it's preseason. No one's ready here. It's preseason. I mean, what do you really learn in the preseason? I don't know. What did we learn about the VGK? Well, we learned in their 2 dress rehearsals, things didn't go as well as last year's dress rehearsals. What do we know about last season? The team had a stellar beginning and went 9 or 10 games before not getting a point in a game. And or they 25-1 or something at one point, whatever the number was in the first 25 games. It was, wow, this team's got a shot to repeat. This is going to be a lot of fun. And then obviously injuries and things happen, and they wind up being the 8th seed and they're a first-round exit. Okay, so horse racing. We're going from bowling to horse racing here. If we're going to talk about horses in form and things like that, the Golden Knights were in much better form last year this time than this year this time. Is that an indicator of things to come? I think it can be. I'm not saying it will be, but it's fair to assume, and this is something this podcast has been talking about since probably April, since after the team was knocked out of the playoffs in the first round by the Stars. You can't count on that hot starts. You cannot count on having that hot start and using that and milking that to simply qualify for the Stanley Cup playoffs and then go up against Dallas or a hungry Edmonton. Oh my God, McDavid might get 340 points this season. If you've been watching these clips that are coming up from that Amazon documentary, oh my God, McDavid might have 350 points this year. I'm not even joking. He is going to be shot out of a cannon. I want to be nowhere near the Oilers in the playoffs. But going back to things with the Golden Knights, this has not been the greatest of preseasons. It's been interesting. It's been fun to watch a lot of things take shape. But this team is not nearly in the same form as they were last year. Now, can they get to that place? Hopefully. Will they get to that place? Time will tell. But right now, is VGK ready? And if the only choices are yes or no, the answer is no. There's been some good things. Power play has been good. There's been some moments.
Hang on. The schedule's rigged, and they'll have the first 10 games at home, something like that. No, it's rigged. So how many fans? Okay, preseason hat trick. How many fans?
30.
That was a great video, by the way. You're counting the number of hats.
The only reason I did that, Tony, is because I put the video on like the second it happened. There was no hats out there. There was no hats. I'm like, okay, what's going to happen? And friggin' Christopher was chirping. He's like, this is the worst hat trick I've ever seen. Like, I don't know if you caught that, if the video played. I'm like, Chris, what do you need to say?
Chris, yeah, just let me get the video in. I need some.
No, it was pretty good. There was 30 hats exactly. 30 hats exactly.
30 exactly. Wow.
I wonder if Dorofeev got one for the room. It would be nice, but Dorofeev doesn't talk to the media, so no one will get a chance to ask him if he got one or not.
Okay. Victor Olofsson. Where's he been this preseason?
Who?
Exactly. Victor Olofsson. What becomes of Olofsson here as we start this season? Well, he'll start out right on the Eichel line.
100% he's going to start with the Eichel line. And I really think Jack is trying to feed him. I think they're a good take. I believe it was on the radio in the post game from Ryan Wallace saying how Eichel really wants Olofsson to succeed and he's going to do whatever he can. Obviously, there's familiarity. You have to assume there was some level of conversation with Eichel about, and McCrimmon and Cassidy. Cassidy probably nothing to do with it, but with McCrimmon and Eichel regarding Olofsson. And I'm sure Eichel had some good to say about him or this signing would not have happened. I guarantee you that McCrimmon didn't just say Olofsson, Eichel, okay, and I'm just going to do this. I'm sure there was something that happened there, but again, the tweet that I put out there about Olofsson, and I don't think I was 30 hats. It's funny. After the Olofsson tweet was the hat trick. So Olofsson is a concern. If there's one player who struggled to fit in, it's him. Cassidy moved him off the top line to see if he can get some chemistry with Wah and Brisson. So they were obviously doing some shuffling around, trying to see
experimenting, like chemistry class is how he terms it.
Oh, no, it definitely is. Cassidy's got his plastic goggles on and a lab coat and pouring a little bit of this into that and trying to see what happens. Hope it doesn't blow up in your face. And that's what's going to be happening with the Golden Knights a lot in the fall as they try and figure things out. But Olofsson just does not seem to be relevant to the outcome of the game. That's something that players chirp each other all the time about on the ice. I think Olofsson, here you go. Olofsson had an irrelevant preseason. That's the quote.
Okay. So I don't think that they felt at FanFest, and I'll get into that more in a moment here, that anyone was recording, transcribing, media people, etc. So you get more open and honest like interactions, and I'll talk about that more in a minute. But Cassidy did say that Pearson has fit in very well with Kolesar, whether with Nick Wah or with Brett Howden. So that's where he'll be. You kind of talked about that earlier, but That was according yesterday to Cassidy. And we'll talk more about FanFest news and notes when we return right here on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights. FanDuel Sportsbook, the official partner of Locked On Golden Knights. That's right. Start the season off with a big return at FanDuel. It is America's #1 sportsbook, and we've got a lot of action there on the boards. Of course, over the weekend, you probably bet on a lot of college football. The NFL was just bonkers yesterday, and tonight we've got the Saints at the Chiefs, and Kansas City -5 and a hook. And the total on that game as it stands right now is at 43. So you could find that line and props. And also, Major League Baseball has been very exciting here with the divisional playoffs going on right now. So check out the latest numbers at FanDuel. And when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place all of your bets. You will get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your $5 bet. That's right. That is FanDuel.com. FanDuel.com. You got to take a look at it. It is America's #1 sportsbook. Welcome back on this Monday edition of Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick reporting from Las Vegas. Ton of people in town this week. I've got a bunch of like meetups and meetings and all sorts of things. There's some big conventions here. So in the past, I'm have a history of being involved in the beverage industry. So they've got something. This is the best one. The National Association of Convenience Stores convention. You just get
I got a buddy coming for that. I got a buddy coming. He's coming for the opening night. That's funny.
Yeah, you would be surprised, Chris, at all of the goodies that they actually sell, the items that they sell in convenience stores. And you just get a bag and you go around and you just have months of just some really good eats there that you could get and drinks. So it's a lot of fun.
Where's that at? Is that at?
That's at the convention center. Yeah. And then I think at that Caesars Convention Center, the Forum, not the Forum Shops, but the convention center there behind the link. They have the National Grocery Association coming in at the same time. So
is that going to be like a turf war? Or there's going to be like crazy battles? Where they wear like the colors and they can't go in the casinos on Fremont Street?
Exactly. You got it. But there's a lot of good stuff there
It's a reference to the bikers when they come to town.
I'm just trying to get a badge. That's it. You know me. I got to find some good snacks here. It's a long winter. Dasco in hibernation. All that. Okay, so we wanted to talk about FanFest. Over 5,000 fans there on the lawn at Summerlin. Great turnout.
It's a good area for it.
195 degrees out there. It was a lot of fun. And literally, there were some interesting things that I observed going on. So they introduced the team. You asked me about this earlier. No William Karlsson. No William Karlsson. So is he in some sort of a cast or protective device on his groin, or we don't know what the injury is, right? But maybe he's in a walking boot or something to that effect. He's not
skating. So he's allegedly skating on his own. So he's not going to be in that, but there's a reason they don't want him to be seen either in public. I'll say it like that. I'll definitely say it like that.
Absolutely. That's exactly right. So they don't want
or Tony, not to pour gasoline on a fire that we don't even know how bad it's burning. Maybe there was a setback.
Absolutely. There's something.
Again, we don't know, speculation. So relax, everybody. Don't clip that. And, we're speculating. We're guessing. That's what we do.
Well, no, but I mean, his absence speaks volumes on the day.
Was Ronbjerg there out of curiosity?
No, I didn't know.
Okay.
No,
because he was literally waived during the FanFest. If I saw the timing right, so I was wondering.
He was supposed to be signing autographs on the concourse, I think, after he was waived. He found out about it, I think, on Twitter. In any event, Brendan Brisson was there, so that was the first sign for me that Brisson has made this lineup, following the waivers and everything else that transpired.
Well, so that's good. We've been dogging how they've been treating him for the last few years. So Brisson's going to get a shot.
Priso.
He's going to get a shot.
How big is his brother? Man.
I don't know. You were following that
He runs, tagged us in a tweet there that his brother plays hockey. His brother's like 6'3" or 6'4". Like what happened? What happened to Brizo, man? What's he about? Is he Isaiah Seville sized? How tall is he?
Who?
Okay, exactly. No Isaiah Seville, by the way, at FanFest yesterday. They had some game. Okay, so the first thing, the players come out. They each have T-shirts to throw out to the crowd. They're like rag arming it. Like they only threw the T-shirts out to like the 10 rows of people standing. It only went like 10 deep with their arms. Oh, I don't want to hurt my arm. So one guy is there, puts the T-shirt under his arm, grabs another one, grabs a third. Like they're throwing them in the same
Did
area.
VGK charge for T-shirts general seating?
Ooh. So they also had some really, oh my goodness, some bad games. The newlywed game, it's kind of, the concept was funny, but the interactions were not very good. So it's a veteran player with a newcomer and like how much you know about them. What is their favorite show on TV?
Who was running that? Who was running that? Out of curiosity, was it anyone we know or no?
Was it Millard? I don't know. You mean as far as the host?
Okay,
Yeah,
that's right up his alley. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it was, but it didn't turn. It misfired. It misfired like a Colasar shot. It misfired. They did have an interview there. Oh, you like that one? I'm
on a nice game on Saturday. A lot of chances.
They're going to need him to score this season. They had an interview with Olofsson and Samsonov up there. We could have used an interpreter. Would have been good. Talking about going to In-N-Out as their favorite fast food place. And then Kelly McCrimmon was there. I'm telling you, these are just absolute stock answers at this point. He's got stock answers.
What do you expect him to do, Tony? What do you expect him? I know we're dogging McCrimmon, but without even knowing what he said or how he said it, what's he supposed to do?
No, I'm not dogging him. I'm just saying that he has stock answers. It's the same thing about opportunities. And, again, it was just the same standard quotes that we're hearing in media, but not here in Canadian media. Let me
raise your hand and ask a question, Tony. You could have got a question.
I don't think they took questions for him, but it was a great event. It was good, and again, fans got a chance to meet their favorite players. I wanted to ask you this because I noticed this yesterday. A lot of fans wearing Marchessault jerseys yesterday. Eichel was number one. Marchessault jerseys aplenty. Did you see a lot of Marchessault jerseys at the game on Saturday night? You can't remember. You were counting hats.
No, okay. I've seen a lot. I'm trying to think how many. There's definitely out there. I actually had a couple nice interactions with some Locked On listeners. Good.
No, you needed to have a video to count them. No,
I should do that. It could be a fun little YouTube short or something. But they're definitely out there, and you see Fleury too and everything. But Marchessault ones hit a little differently, and did have a couple nice, pleasant interactions. People recognizing me and little Chris together at the games from watching our show and all that. And
wow,
no one was asking about Tony, but they definitely were very excited to meet little Chris.
I thought I was going to get egged out there at Summerlin, but the fans were very nice. They were nice to me. We appreciate everyone tuning in, especially our number 3 country, Singapore. We appreciate everyone tuning in from there. I still don't know what the connection is, but we definitely appreciate everyone tuning in. We appreciate our everydayers. Thank you so much. Of course, thanks for all the great comments, good or bad. I had to block someone. I don't block people a lot on the X, but some clown came after me after I said, Dodger fans, you got to be better, because, they were throwing trash there in the outfield. And he just started going off about something about that. I'm bitter, but I'm not even, I'm not a fan of the Padres or the Dodgers. So grow up, bro. For my man, Chris Golick, don't forget on Saturdays, Chris and Chris Jr. show, YouTube exclusive, subscribe there. I am Tony Cardasco from Las Vegas. We'll see you tomorrow right here on Locked On Golden Knights. And please get snacks and take care.